All right. I had to do a take two because I messed up too many times. Today is Friday, May 1st, still around 1 o'clock. This is part two of Seeds of Anarchy. I'm going to try to finish it off if I can, or I'll do this in three parts maybe. Where we left off in part one, they were at the farmhouse about to sit down at the dining room table. This is a rather long scene, which is probably why I messed up a bunch of times. And plus, I haven't read this in a couple of years, so it's not fresh in my head how this dialogue goes. I've had some people tell me that it's too long, but this is a kind of a major exploration of some of the themes of this film, some of the stuff that was in my head at that time, and just random nonsense that I think is funny as well. So, we're inside the farmhouse of Lenny and his family in the dining room in the evening. Lenny places a bowl of potatoes down onto the dining room table in front of Rufus, who plays Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys on his banjo, Lewis next to him providing vocal harmonies. Ramona sits next to him, highlighting sentences in a textbook as she hums along. Mark and Luke grab some chicken legs from a plate on the table and dangle it under the table for the family dog as the punks walk in, a little more presentable than before, and they sit down. Lenny stands as everyone bows their heads in silence. Lenny: Gracious Lord, we give thanks for this ample food that you have blessed us with, and to our new friends who we hope to help in their quest to Florida to reunite with their family. Please provide them safe passage and good fortune. Rico bites down loudly into a biscuit as Lucy quickly rips it out from his mouth. Rico: Why are you always taking food out of my mouth? Lenny clears his throat and continues. Lenny: Merciful Lord, we ask for your guiding light as we hope and strive to be reunited again with our family members when you call us to that final judgment. Everyone: Amen. Rico wipes a tear from his eye. Rico: That was really fucking beautiful, man. Lenny pulls out a bill, walks into the kitchen, deposits it into the swear jar, and walks back in. Lenny to Rico: Now you owe me $1 too. Everyone digs in family style. Rufus: You have your work cut out for you this time, Luis. You think you can teach these three to honor and respect the land? Luis: Always give back to the land, and the land will always provide for you. Ramona: Well, if it doesn't rain soon, this season will be for shit. Luis holds out his hand, as Ramona already digs into her pockets to hand him $1. He walks into the kitchen, deposits the dollar into the swear jar, and returns. Luis: Never lose faith in Mother Nature. She always works with a purpose, although sometimes testing our resolve. But she keeps us strong and humble. Ramon sits silently in his chair, the only one not eating, as Sticks passes him a bowl of veggies. He swiftly karate chops his wrist like a ninja, sending the bowl falling to the floor as the family dog has a go at the free food. Sticks: What the shit, old man? Lenny sighs, returns to the kitchen to put another $1 into the swear jar, then walks back. Ramona: He's fasting. Hasn't eaten in a week. Sticks: Sorry, I didn't know. Ramona: It's okay. He just gets a little on edge during his longer fast. Sticks: Maybe he shouldn't sit at a table full of food. Ramon raises his arms to karate chop Sticks again, but fakes him out as he flinches backwards right out of his chair, everyone laughing at his expense. Rico: That is like some real-life Mr. Miyagi shit. Lenny tosses his napkin down, walks back into the kitchen, brings the swear jar back with him, and puts in another $1. All right. Yeah, it is a rather long scene, but let me continue now. I think I wrote it like this because it was the right opportunity to introduce all these characters together. You get to know their personalities, their what makes them tick, and you do it all at a dinner table. Like I did the same type of thing in Elegant Eccentrics. I had a kind of a long dinner time scene as well. So maybe that's just something I like to do subconsciously. All right, continuing. Rufus continues the dialogue. I knew this was a bad idea. They're putting us in the red before we even get started. Before they even get... Sorry. I knew this was a bad idea. They're putting us in the red before they even started working. Luke. Fucking deadbeats. Lenny. Luke. What? Grandpa said all the deadbeats are scared shitless now because Reagan won. Lenny puts his hand over his son's mouth and drops 2 more dollar bills into the swear jar. Lenny. Luke, that's enough. You can go do the rest of your chores now and finish the rest of your dinner after. Luke pouts and curses under his breath as he walks away, as Rufus gazes towards Sticks. Rufus, chuckling. My grandson speaks the truth, you know. At least my generation had a vision, peace, love, a global reunion of the entire collective consciousness. What exactly are you punks after? What exactly are you punks after? Seems like more of a fashion statement, and a piss poor one at that. Sticks. Don't judge the book, old man. We're about the same peace and autonomy, only without being dirty, weak, and stoned all the time like you pussy hippies were. Rufus. Excuse me, son? Sticks. You heard me. Where did your peace and love revolution end up, by the way? It only led to more war, more racism, and more hypocrisy. Rufus. To the table, almost like singing the lines. The little punk read some books, and now he thinks he knows how the world works. Sticks. And ultimately, it led to Reagan's horseshit policies and the big brother corporatization of our generation. Luis laughs heartily while eating some biscuits. Luis with his mouth full. Oh, there'll be plenty of horseshit for you tomorrow. Rufus stares towards Sticks. Rufus. You snotty micro-dick prick. Hippies laid the foundation for people to free their minds and live outside the system. Don't blame us if the system responded by continually bashing us, sending us to Nam, or putting my friends in prison. Sticks. If the hippies had any fucking balls, they would have fought back with more than peace, love, and flower power. Rufus. So that's what your movement is all about. Violent revolution to violent oppression. So you can eventually play the oppressors one day. By the way, just what violent oppression is your entitled generation facing exactly? Look at real men like MLK and Gandhi. That is how you make the world pay attention to a cause. Lucy. That's also how you get your brains blown out. Lenny attempts to keep the peace. Lenny. You know, I was reading today about the Dust Bowl. 5 years of drought in some regions. Can you imagine what those poor people went through? I mean, I can't. His valiant attempt to change the conversation fails, as Sticks quickly cuts him off, staring daggers towards Rufus. Sticks. What do you really think the Jesus myth is all about? Lenny. Can we please leave Jesus out of this? Rufus. Religious scholar as well. Please enlighten us backwards country folk with your biblical prowess. Sticks. The greatest story ever told is just a warning to all those who try to live outside the brain-numbing obedience and mass surveillance of the fascist global agenda. If you are going astray, keep your mouth shut and don't start any movements to wake the people up, or you will be nailed to a fucking cross to shut you up. Rico. Jesus was like the first hippie. That is like a real historical fact in the Bible and shit. Lenny sighs, empties the rest of his loose change into the swear jar, then turns towards Mark. Lenny. Why don't you go help your brother with his chores? Mark. But Dad, this is just getting good. Lenny. Now, Mark. Mark, under his breath. Shitballs. He grabs some biscuits and walks away from the table, while Lenny tries to keep his cool, his head in his hands. As Rufus and Sticks eat their biscuits, eat their chicken legs, staring towards one another. Rufus. You think you have all the answers, don't you, kid? What life experience do you really have? Parents never bought you that fucking Cabbage Patch Kid for Christmas? Lenny digs into his pockets for more change. Lenny. All right, enough already. I'm all tapped out. Happy? I'm out of fucking money. He covers his own mouth. As everyone stares towards Lenny in collective shock at his F-bomb. Ramon laughs hysterically, breaking the tense silence, banging both hands on the table as he makes a peace sign with his fingers. Ramon, through laughter. Jesus, how hippie. Peace and love, man. Peace and love. His laughter is infectious, as everyone joins in on the fun. Rufus still needs to find the final word, as he rises up and leans in close to Sticks. Rufus. Luis wasn't lying, you know. You're going to be digging through horse shit all day tomorrow, you fucking gutless punk. Lenny. Dad. Rufus. I know. Just let me have my fun, will ya? He throws his napkin down, deposits a $5 bill into the swear jar, and stares at Sticks, counting his F-bombs on his fingers. Fuck you, you fucking little fuck. Have a fucking great day tomorrow. He can't think of how to use his last F-bomb, grabs his banjo and walks away frustrated, as Rico tries to play peacemaker this time. Rico. These potatoes are like so good. I mean, like seriously, the best potatoes I've ever had in my life. Lenny. Well, thank you, Rico. That's very kind of you. Ramona. Mr. Wilkes has a secret recipe for those. Lenny. Ramon taught me how to make them all those years ago when you first came to work here. How long ago was that now? Luis. 10 years. Lenny. I don't think this farm would still be in existence if our paths didn't cross back then. Ramon. One big happy fucking family. Rufus rushes back in to use the last F-bomb that his $5 purchased. Directed toward Sticks again, but much more passionate with both middle fingers up. Fuck you. Walks away proudly as Lenny tries to hide his embarrassment. Alright, that's the end of that scene. I guess I'll mention, when I think of Rufus's character, I think of that actor that was in Nebraska. I'm not going to look it up, I don't know his name. But he was the main character in Nebraska. He played the father who thought he won all that money. You know, if you ever saw that movie, you would know. But I don't want to go into a long tangent right now. Maybe I'll remember it later and talk about it. He's kind of the face and the voice I hear though, because he's got that funny kind of I don't know how to term it. That type of sense of humor that's dry and he just wants to fuck around with people almost. Maybe he's a little deranged, but who knows? He's a former hippie that is very steadfast in his views still. Kind of that type of person. 'Cause even in the 80s, hippies were only like not that old yet. So that's Rufus in a nutshell, that type of character. Maybe I'm speaking of him because I kind of like reading his dialogue. I kind of see that actor in my head. All right, continuing. All right, now we're going back to New York City because now we are following Vivian as she enters the punk commune, that warehouse, and she walks towards the kitchen, passing a few drug addicts who shoot up in zombie mode and pay her no mind. She grabs a picture off a hallway wall of Styx, Rico, and Lucy backstage with their instruments after a show. Then she walks into the kitchen where old punk man watches a daytime soap opera on the TV while eating a bowl of cereal. Old punk man, to himself towards the TV. What a bitch, with her own brother? That is some sick and twisted shit. He notices Vivian behind him. Vivian. I'm looking for Styx. Owe him some cash for some prior business. She holds out $500 bills. Old punk man. Never heard of him. Fair warning, you better be careful carrying that much cash around here. She takes out 5 more $100 bills. Vivian, you sure? He keeps playing it cool, not aware who he is dealing with. Old punk man. I'm in the middle of my favorite show right now, honey. I wish I could help you, but you know, priorities. She lifts him up by the balls and throws him down onto the kitchen floor as he tries to catch his breath. Old punk man. Okay, I know him. Vivian, where'd he go? Old punk man. I don't know. She squeezes his balls even harder. Old punk man. I swear. I really don't know anything else. She repeatedly slams his head onto the kitchen floor as 2 drug addicts enter the kitchen. She casually grabs her silencer pistol and shoots drug addict 1 square in the dick, sending him wriggling onto the floor, grabbing his crotch. Drug addict 2 charges at her, but she casually shoots him in the dick as well. Drug addict 2. She shot me in the dick. Drug addict 1. She shot me in the dick. Vivian turns her attention back to old punk man, pointing the gun towards his dick. Old punk man. Whoa, hold up. All I know is that they headed south, I swear. Please, I still use my dick, mostly for jerking off, but still. She calmly sits down at the kitchen table, lights a cigarette, and watches the soap opera on the TV as the 2 drug addicts curl up in the fetal position behind her. Drug addict 1. She shot me in the dick. Drug addict 2. I know she shot you in the dick. She shot me in the dick. Drug addict 1. Evil. Fucking whore. She fires 2 more precision-perfect dick shots at both of them, without even turning around. Smokes her cigarette, calm and collected, eyes glued towards the TV, as the 2 drug addicts cry out in torturous pain behind her. So there you go. Maybe that's more of a apt introduction to Vivian's character than when we first met her in the funeral home. All right, now we are going to meet another interesting character. We are in an upscale bar in the city, New York City. And in this bar, Sonny is ashing his cigar, seated at a stool at the bar while Ralph and Dom are nearby him. Ralph, I'm telling you, Sonny, this guy is the real deal, retired Navy SEAL or something. Sonny, can he be trusted? Ralph, I vouch for him. Bryce, 30s, jacked up like a steroid-loving WWF wrestler with a Brian Bosworth-type mullet, walks into the bar. Ralph, that's him. Bryce walks towards Sonny, removing his black, overly dramatic 80s sunglasses. Sonny, quietly to Ralph. Ain't too discreet looking, is he? Bryce shakes hands with Sonny. Bryce, Mr. Mafisula, I just want to say it is a real honor to meet someone of your legendary status in the community. He hands him a very plain and unprofessional business card with the rather vague phrase, Bryce Collins, Destroyer of Worlds, and a small amateurish logo of a snake in one corner and a lightning bolt in the other. Bryce, I bring with me an unmatched set of skills that will help you keep kicking ass in the mafia business. When you need to strike fear into your enemies, I am the man for the job, and I can promise you that these colors, he pulls out a mini American flag and places it on the bar. Do not run. Sonny, well, nice to meet you, Bryce. Whatever all that just was, it was very impressive, very impressive. Here, take a seat, please. Bryce, thank you, sir. Sonny, I hear you served in the Marines. Bryce, Navy SEAL, sir. Sonny, what are you drinking? On the house. Bryce, no thank you, sir. I'm on a shitload of steroids right now. Sonny, let's get right to business then. Can I assume you have some experience with surveillance from your time in the military? Bryce, yes, sir. Sonny, I also assume you are no stranger to killing. Bryce, 41 confirmed. Sonny amicably pats him on the back. Sonny, well, that is great, Bryce. Really, really great. Sonny fiddles with the American flag as he leans in closer to him. Sonny, you know, Bryce, I am slowly entering the final chapter of my life. It is both a sad and natural part of the human experience. Bryce, yes, sir. Sonny, and as we reach our golden years, sometimes it gets harder to keep track of some of our memories. Sometimes we need to just get rid of certain memories, or certain people within those memories, or certain people who may know too much about some of those memories, which we don't really want to be remembered anymore. Bryce stares at him blankly, his brain struggling to keep up with the conversation. Bryce, understood, sir. Sonny, that's great. I'm glad you understand. I'm really, really glad. All right, so we meet Bryce in that scene. He's like the 80s, over-the-top meathead type of dude, steroided all up like a wrestler. He's a very minor character, but he plays a role in this. Maybe he's more comic relief than anything, but he is a necessary character. All right, we're moving back to the homestead the next day. As Styx shovels a mountain of horse manure onto a large wooden wagon. Hard labor, not a usual part of his punk lifestyle, as he sweats heavily and swats away flies. He takes a breather to light a cigarette, both hands covered in manure, as Luis and Rufus walk over to check on his progress. Luis, that is good work. Good job, Styx. Rufus sips his coffee. Rufus, yeah, keep shoveling that horse shit. It'll put some muscles on those bones. Under his breath. You scrawny sack of shit. He shovels more horse manure into the wagon, carelessly piling it all onto one side, causing the wagon to dangerously topple over. The manure pours out all over the ground, splattering onto his face and body, as he takes another puff from his cigarette, completely covered in shit now. Luis and Rufus laughing hysterically as they walk towards him. Lenny also walks over, and the three of them help Styx push the wagon back up on all fours. Rufus and Styx both slip and fall backwards in the process, landing into the pile of manure behind them. Rufus, You goddamn little shitbird. Sticks gets to his feet and reaches his shit-covered arm down to Rufus, who grabs hold and slowly gets to his feet, only to lose his footing again, sending them both right back into the manure. This is moments later at the workers' barracks, as Sticks and Rufus are now washing the manure off in the outdoor showers. Rufus, couldn't just do a simple job. Pile of manure, wagon. Take the manure, shovel it all into the wagon. It is not that difficult. He spits some shit out of his mouth. Rufus, I'm 64 years old. Did not think I would be cleaning shit out of my ears at this age. Ramona walks by and shares a flirtatious glance with Sticks as she laughs at the scene, while Rufus tries to get his attention as he swats at flies. Rufus, are you even listening to me? Hate to say it, but maybe Reagan is right about all this bleeding heart liberal, false empathetic tendency nonsense. Just lock up all the vagrants and addicts and be done with it. Sticks, sorry, all right? Jesus. It's only shit. You probably rolled around in shit piles worse than this at Woodstock or something. He grabs some manure off the ground and tosses it at Rufus, hitting him right in the bare ass. Rufus, hey, watch it now. Rufus laughs to himself. Rufus, you know, you aren't that far off, kid. Kind of how Lenny was conceived, in a big pile of hippie-loving mud and shit. Sticks, serious? Rufus smiles at him as they continue washing the shit off, naked and laughing. All right. Now we are moving towards the farm later that day. Lucy, Rico, and Ramon plant tomato seeds as Ramon bends down and caresses the dry soil, his ear to the ground, smooth talking the earth. Ramon, está bien, vendrá la lluvia. Translation, all right, the rain will come. Rico eyes Lucy. Rico whispers, He's fucking with us, right? Lucy, I don't know. All those new age yuppies back home would eat this shit up. Mark and Luke sneak up behind Ramon, pour a bucket of water on his head, and run away giggling. Ramon, pequeños diablos, little devils. Whenever I say something in Spanish, I'll just do it like that. Pequeños diablos, little devils. He chases after them playfully as Lenny and Luis ride horses towards Lucy and Rico. Lenny, how's the first day going? Lucy, just peachy. Lenny, great. Might seem tedious at first, but this type of work is inside all of us, deep within our gut. Gives you a sense of where we all came from, that innate survival instinct and all. Rico picks up some of the seeds, skeptical of the art of farming. Rico, you sure these things are going to turn into tomatoes? Lenny and Luis slowly ride away. Lenny, he will also send you rain for the seed you sow in the ground, and the food that comes from the land will be rich and plentiful. That's a quote from Isaiah 30:23. Rico and Lucy spread more seed as Ramon returns, his face and hair still wet. He hums to himself and works the soil in peace, with his back turned towards the punks. Ramon, I was fucking with you. He laughs to himself. Now we are in a country field, a little bit on the opposite side of the homestead, kind of hidden, and Rufus and Sticks and Ramona are smoking a joint together. So they continued to bond after their shower. Now they're smoking a joint. away from the barracks in a country field. Rufus. Man, oh man, where did you get this stuff? Ramona. I took it out of Ramon's pants. I have no idea where he gets it from. Rufus. I have smoked joints over the last 40 years from here to Timbuktu, and this is the clear, indubitable winner, by unanimous decision. She grabs Stick's hand and reads his palm. Ramona. I see a lot of interesting moments for you to come, punk man. Sticks. I don't believe in any of that gypsy stuff. Ramona. Just let your imagination take over. He plays along. Sticks. All right. What is my lifeline telling you? Ramona. Well, I see some happiness and good fortune, but oh my. Sticks. Stop messing around. Ramona. I see lightning, thunder, and total soul-crushing darkness. It is a very, very dark path, but the light will come if you allow it to shine inside of you. She stares deeply into his eyes while tracing one of his other lines. Ramona. Ooh, this one isn't so good. Sticks grabs a joint from Rufus with his free hand and inhales. Sticks. What, King Kong going to swipe me away and take me up to the Empire State Building? Rufus. King Kong wasn't gay, you idiot. Or maybe he was. Maybe that whole movie is really a metaphor for the sexual repression of American society. To himself. Oh man, I'm high as shit right now. He walks away and bear hugs a nearby tree as Ramona seductively touches Stick's palm. Ramona. I see. Horse manure, loads and loads of horse manure. Your every waking moment will be comprised of shoveling loads and loads of horse manure. Sticks grabs her and playfully spins her around on his back. Ramona. Come on, King Kong, put me down. I'm gonna puke. Louise storms over in a rage as Sticks freezes, joint in mouth. Luis. Ramona, puedo entender la pereza del gringo, pero hay que respetar esta tierra, este trabajo. Ramona, I can understand the laziness of the gringo, but you have to respect this land, this work. Because my Spanish sucks, I might just say it in English. But if you read the screenplay, you would see when the actors would actually say things in Spanish. Ramona. I've been doing this job since I was 10 years old. Enough, Dad. Luis raises his arm to her, but concedes and walks away. As Sticks passes the joint back to Rufus. Sticks. I don't know what that was, but sorry if that was about me. Ramona. It has nothing to do with you. Lenny and his family have been very good to us for a very long time now, and we've always had great success with this land. Rufus. Damn right about that. Ramona. He's just afraid of what will happen if all of this was gone, if the rain doesn't come this time, if the spirits turn their back to us. Rufus inhales the joint, then recites some Bob Dylan lyrics from Maggie's Farm. Rufus. Well, I wake up in the morning, fold my hands and pray for rain. I get a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. Sticks. What can I do to help? Ramona. Pray to whatever God you believe in for rain, whether you really believe in it or not. Sticks. What if I just pray to your gods? Now, this would be kind of a hard cut. Later that day, maybe an hour or so later, they're in a different part of the homestead as Luis, Ramona, Sticks, Lucy, Rufus, and Rico chant together and dance in a large circle as Ramon, the shaman, beats on the drum, wearing an animal mask. And he's leading the ancient ceremony, imploring the spirits to send the rain. Styx and Ramona grab hands and dance in a circle together. Styx, you think it's working? Ramona, it's not up to us. Rico falls down onto the grass, exhausted, as he tries to catch his breath. Rico, why can't they just buy a bunch of sprinklers? Now, same time, inside the farmhouse, Lenny sits alone at the kitchen table, staring down at the crumpled papers from earlier. He flattens the papers and places them inside a photo book, then pets the family dog. Lenny, I know. It's all going to work out somehow. Have a little faith. He pours some coffee into his mug and stares out the window at the group doing the traditional Mexican rain dance. Now we're back outside as Lenny walks outside and joins the rain dance, as Ramon leads him to the center of the circle, and the two men scream as loud as they possibly can into each other's faces. Ramon falls to his knees in a trance, still beating on his drum as he stares to the heavens and passes out in exhaustion from his deafening primal scream. The ceremony stops as Luis and Lenny carry Ramon towards the workers' barracks, everyone following after them, concerned for their shamanic leader. All right, now we are going to Vivian's truck. Vivian drives down a country road, a gun, a map, and a list of gas stations with some locations crossed off next to her on the passenger seat. She glances in the rearview mirror and notices a suspicious, flashy Corvette tailing her. Now we're moving to Bryce's Corvette, as Bryce tails Vivian, rather inconspicuously, wearing army camo and a headband, and Uzi, a sniper rifle, and a samurai sword next to him on the passenger seat, like he's ready for all-out war. He rocks out to Motley Crue, Looks That Kill, blaring from his car's cassette player, as he eyes himself in the rear view and fixes his mullet. Now, so Vivian's driving her truck as Bryce tails her. Vivian notices him and swerves into the gas station entrance at the last second. Bryce's Corvette brakes abruptly as he rolls down the window, lowers his glasses, and stares towards Vivian's truck in the parking lot. Vivian watches him through her rear view, unsure of what to make of the situation, as he speeds away recklessly down the road. All right, so now we follow Vivian as she exits her vehicle and goes inside the country gas station. It's a different one than before. So she walks inside, buys cigarettes, and hands the cashier Styx's yearbook photo. Vivian, I'm a social worker looking for a runaway. Have you seen him? He shakes his head no as she shows him the photo of Styx, Rico, and Lucy. Vivian, how about them? He shakes his head no again. Vivian, thanks. All right, now we're outside that gas station as she exits, as a drunken father in his 40s smacks his young daughter in her face, then pushes her against the truck as he takes a swig from his whiskey bottle. Drunken father, you're just like your mother. Bitch, all day long. The young girl cries and rubs the back of her head. Drunken father, and don't give me that look. Vivian slowly approaches and stares him down, inches away from his face. Drunken father, what the hell do you want, bitch? She kicks him in the groin, stomps her boot down on his nose as he collapses, slams his head against the pavement, then bends over and presses her pistol against his temple. Vivian, if you ever lay a hand on that girl again, I'll be back, and I will end you. He stares back at her, unable to form any words, as he pisses himself in fear. She pistol whips him, knocking him out against the truck, then helps the little girl to her feet and inspects the bruise on the back of her head. Vivian, if you still love your father when he wakes up, you will tell him not to call the police or talk about this to anyone. She nods as Vivian hands her some cash. Vivian, go buy some food if you get hungry. Vivian starts up her truck, rolls down the window, and stares towards her. Vivian, don't ever take shit from anyone, especially men like him. She shares a long gaze with her, then drives away. As she exits the parking lot, she stares in the rear view and quickly wipes some tears away, then notices Bryce's Corvette tailing her again. All right, we move to later on that night. Vivian's in a motel room, resting on a bed in a very seedy place as a thunderstorm rages outside. She flicks a roach off the bed and watches as it splatters against the window, while a local news report plays on the TV from Charlotte, North Carolina. News reporter on TV. Well, have you seen these punks? Police in Georgia are looking for some punks, and yes, I mean real in the flesh punk rockers who robbed a liquor store. Folks, you are not going to believe this one. It is truly stranger than fiction. The news video then shows the name and location of their liquor store, a brief interview with the cashier, and a very comical police sketch of one of the perps, a young man with some missing teeth and a huge mohawk. Vivian lights a cigarette and quickly writes the info in her notepad as her head pounds again. She shuts her eyes, holds pillows against her ears, and tries to sleep as more roaches invade her bed. I'll just add there, I know that's a trope in a lot of movies and TV shows, the finding information from the news, but I just figured I would also be a part of that. Yeah, it's a trope that's overused, I get it. In a method of storytelling, you need to get information to a character, so you do it through a news report. It's in a ton of movies. But I figured I'd join the party and also be a part of that. Maybe it's a bit of lazy writing, but it just works. And it's realistic. In the 80s, if a bunch of punks dressed in mohawks, if they robbed a liquor store down south in the Bible Belt, it would definitely be on the news like that. So I didn't think it was that far-fetched to just put it in there. All right, so we are in that same moment at night while Vivian is in the motel. We are now headed back to the homestead at the workers' barracks, where Ramon coughs in bed in a very frail condition as Luis gently wipes away the sweat from his forehead with a wet rag. Luis, rest now, Papa. You did everything you could. Ramon groans and coughs some more as Luis grips his hand tightly. Now, at the same time, in a nearby country field near the barracks, Styx and Ramona lay under the stars, sharing a bottle of wine. Ramona, do you really have family in Florida? Styx, why do you ask? Ramona, just trying to see how full of shit you are. Styx, I might have family in Florida, or I might be a notorious bank robber, moving from town to town, hiding out on random people's farms. Ramona. I knew it. You cannot fool me, bandito. They share more of the wine, staring at the starry sky, then kiss passionately, undress each other, and make love in the grass, just as lightning flashes, followed by roaring burst of thunder. They pause their passion as the torrential rains pour down, then roll around and make love in the rain. Interior, exterior, now we're back in the workers' barracks at the same moment as Luis watches the thunderstorm from the front door. Luis. It's raining, Ramon. The rain has come. He walks to the bed and kisses Ramon on the forehead. Luis. You beautiful, beautiful man. Walks outside and jumps around joyously in the rain as Lenny, Mark, Luke, and Rufus run to join him. Now, we're inside the workers' barracks a bit later in the night as the celebration commences because of the rain, as Luis and Lenny play a traditional mariachi song, strumming on acoustic guitars and harmonizing their voices beautifully together, while Rico drums along to the beat on some aluminum cans. Yeah, you could pick any traditional Mexican mariachi song there. I think I learned of a song called Amor con Amor se paga. I don't even know what that means. Love with love, something, something. But yeah, whatever song can kind of fit a scene like that. Upbeat, happy song like that. Ramon rests in bed, not strong enough to sit up, as Lucy feeds him some veggies, rice, and beans. Lucy. You'll be good as new in no time. Ramon smiles and leans in closer towards her. Ramon. In you shines the spirit of the falcon. He gently covers her eyes with his hand, like a shamanic blessing. Ramon. Find the truth and meaning. Wander without regret. Sticks and Ramona enter the barracks and grab some towels to dry off after their passionate lovemaking, while Lenny and Luis continue their performance. Lenny, towards the punks. What? Didn't think a middle-aged white Reagan voter could play some mariachi music? Don't judge the book, right? Luis hands his guitar to Sticks and shows him the chords he was playing. Sticks picks it up very quickly and jams with Lenny as the rainy night impromptu sing-along rages on, like some curse has been lifted. All right, now we just do a simple time cut. We're still in the workers' barracks, but later that night, with beer cans all over the place and the party's pretty much done. Ramon wakes up in his bed, trapped between Lucy and Rico, who sleep on both sides of him. He pushes Rico onto the floor, then rises and grabs his shaman's pipe from a shelf. He fills it up with some appetizing marijuana buds and lights up, smiling as his shamanic powers are fully restored. Luis, Rufus, and Sticks share a bottle of mezcal across the room, all noticeably drunk. Luis. Whoever takes the last sip has to eat the worm. Rufus. Not eating no worm. I had my fill anyway. Good night, kind sirs and senoritas. Rufus bows and drunkenly stumbles off. Rufus singing. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. Ramon grabs Sticks by the arm and blows smoke into his face, staring intensely into his eyes. Ramon whispers, "You are forgiven." He kisses him on the lips like Bugs Bunny, then walks outside into the rain in a daze, as Sticks wipes his lips in disgust and watches him walk out. Lenny flips through, we're back, just a brief analysis of that, because that's kind of a weird scene if you don't really get my intent. So Ramon is kind of a spiritual shaman type, and shamans can probably commune with the dead, and at least in folklore, they have the power to speak to the dead, to get wisdom from dead ancestors and shit like that. So in this case, Ramon has communed with Fat Frankie, and this is Fat Frankie forgiving Styx for killing him. So he's speaking through Ramon as Ramon whispers to Styx, "You are forgiven," then kisses him in a funny way like Bugs Bunny on the lips. I don't know if people would understand that. So Ramon is the spiritual undertone of this story. He's the shaman. And yeah, his character was very important as I wrote this. All right, so as that happens, we move to the farmhouse at the same time as Lenny is flipping through his photo book, staring towards photos of him and his wife with his kids when they were just toddlers. He weeps quietly as Rufus walks into the kitchen and hugs him from behind to comfort him. All right. Now we're still the same night, even later that night, as Luis and Styx are sharing the rest of the bottle of mezcal around the fire, while Styx plays "The KKK Took My Baby Away" by the Ramones on an acoustic guitar. Very drunk and very sloppy. Just how punk songs were meant to be played. Luis: "I like this one." He sings along while swigging the bottle. Luis singing, "The KKK took my baby away." Passes the bottle to Styx, who stops playing and finishes it off. Luis: "You gotta eat that worm now." Styx: "What? You set me up, man." He clumsily breaks the bottle on the ground, then grabs the worm and swallows it whole. Luis: "Oh man, I was just kidding with you. Nobody actually eats that shit." Luis picks up the guitar and tries to play the Ramones song. Luis: "How did that one part go?" Styx shows him the chords. Styx: "There's actually some modulation, goes to a key change." Luis: "I know what modulation is." They jam on, bonding over music. Luis: "Punk rock, woo, niños locos." It's a very short scene there just to bring some good vibes. They're finally bonding. The rain came and everyone's in a good mood. Everyone celebrates and parties, and now Styx and his punk ethos is also bonding with the Mexican type of worldview. It's just a simple scene to show the bonding of different cultures like that. I thought it would be good to add something, and I kind of have that general tone throughout this, because these are not likely relationships. You're not going to see, it's just a weird juxtaposition or merging of cultures, Mexican culture, punk rock, and you have the Reagan Christian conservatives. But the meaning of this type of story is just how everyone's really the same, and people try to identify people, like I just did, by their appearances, but everyone's basically the same. And you have to stop paying attention to all the divide and conquer politics that people use and utilize for all their manipulative purposes. I'm not going to go on a big rant right now, though. All right, now we're on page 55. We are inside Vivian's truck as she's riding by like a small town baseball field as a teenage girl's softball game goes on, and spectators eat hot dogs and cheer from the stands. Vivian brakes, lights a cigarette, and watches the game as the batter hits a ground ball up the middle and the base runner rounds third, then slides safely at home just beating the throw. She stares with longing towards the stands as fans erupt in cheers and high-five each other. Then she slowly drives away. Soon after, she's driving past the street corner as a crossing guard lifts up the stop sign. Vivian brakes and watches young children walk off the school bus and hug their waiting parents on the sidewalk. One smiling young boy waves towards her as he passes in front of her truck. She waves back, lost in her thoughts. As the crossing guard lowers her sign and the school bus drives away. Vivian stares straight ahead until the car honks behind her, snapping her from her daze, and she drives away. Now, the last little scene here, Vivian drives. Well, before I get to that, the reason I put those scenes in there, I wanted to develop Vivian's character. She spent her life killing hundreds and hundreds of people, and that becomes more apparent later in some of the dialogue towards the end. But ultimately, she's in her 60s now, and how long can you go killing people in your life? So maybe she's trying to either think of a new way to spend the rest of her life, or she's longing for that normal family existence, that American dream type of thing. I spoke about this in the last one too, with Gillian and Yish kind of lacking that normal upbringing like that. So that's why I put those scenes in there. She's watching the parents watch their kids play baseball or softball, and she's watching all these little kids run to their parents, and she's getting kind of that longing sensation, like, I've wasted my life killing people. But she's such a stoic character that really she has no emotion on her face, but maybe just a bit. Just like when she watched the young girl in the parking lot get beat up by her father, and she had to intervene because she had to stick up for her. So yeah, she's a tough ass. It's somebody you never want to fuck with, who has no regard for human life really, when she's told to kill somebody. But she's also kind of a more nuanced character. And I put these scenes in later because I really wanted to build her character up. So now we are moving forward in this story. Now Vivian is driving past the country gas station that the punks had stopped at, and she notices while she's driving into the parking lot that Bryce's Corvette is still tailing her. She parks in the country gas station parking lot, watches Bryce speed by her in his Corvette. Then she steps out and she inspects the parking lot. She gazes towards the "Just Say No to Drugs" billboard, then bends over and picks up a cigarette butt off the pavement. All right, now she's back in the truck. I left it vague there. She might have gone inside and spoke to the guy, but I didn't really want to belabor this story too much. So she finds the cigarette butt, she goes back into her truck, and she rides to the liquor store that the punks robbed a couple days earlier. She notices that it's closed, and she keeps driving, and now she makes it to that country lake, and she follows tire marks that are in the mud down to the lake, passing beer cans, candy wrappers, and cigarette butts. She bends down and compares the cigarette butt to the other one she found, and then she walks to the lake and dips her hand inside the water. So she's having her Columbo moment, trying to find evidence of where these punks might have gone to. Next, Vivian brakes her truck and she notices the Christian cross Farmhands needed sign posted on the tree. So, of course, her next stop, Vivian hides behind her truck at Lenny's homestead near the apple tree, parked on the side of the road, and she stares towards the homestead through her binoculars. She spots the punks' van parked behind the barracks, watches the Mexicans and punks working on the farm as Rufus, Mark, and Luke also help out. She locks her gun in the glove compartment and punctures one of her back tires using the metal crucifix on her necklace. She spots a tracking device under her truck while doing so and inspects it, her mind racing, then places it back where she found it, fixes her hair, and walks towards the homestead. All right. Vivian now approaches the farmhouse, knocks on the door, and waits a few moments until Lenny opens it. Vivian: "Hi, so sorry to bother you, but my truck got a flat. I thought I might find a phone to call for a tow." Lenny steps outside. Lenny: "Not a bother at all, and I can do you one better. Plenty of spares collecting dust around here. Where's your truck?" Vivian: "Right in front of that big apple tree over there. But I couldn't ask you to do all that." Lenny: "Nonsense." He motions towards Luis and Sticks, who picks some cucumbers nearby. Lenny: "Hey Luis, do me a favor and grab some spares from the barn. Truck in front of the apple tree." He nods and walks towards the barn with Sticks, as Lenny extends his hand out to her. Lenny: "Lenny." Vivian: "Vivian." Lenny: "What do you say to getting out of the heat for a while?" He holds the door for her as she walks in. Now we're inside the farmhouse as a fresh, vibrant red apple pie cools on the windowsill as Lenny prepares tea and Vivian flips through the photo book while seated at the kitchen table. She notices the foreclosure warning bank papers folded up inside, then some photos of Lenny's wife. Vivian: "Beautiful woman." Lenny: "What's that?" Vivian: "In these photos." Lenny: "Oh yeah, I guess the fates were really with me back then." He brings 2 mugs of tea over and hands one to her while staring down at the photo of his wife. Vivian: "Thanks." Lenny: Yeah, she passed on about 3 years back." Vivian: "I'm sorry, shouldn't have looked." Lenny: "No reason to be sorry. Why people keep photos in the first place, right?" Mark and Luke run in, shooting toy guns at each other. Mark: "I got you first. I already shot you twice in the head." Luke: "Liar, I shot you in the legs, so you'd have been on the ground, paralyzed." Mark: "Dad, will you tell Luke I already killed him?" Lenny: "Please don't talk about killing your brother." Luke points the gun at Vivian and makes shooting noises as she forms a gun with her fingers and fires back. Vivian: "I got you, right in the heart." Luke smiles and falls dramatically to the ground. Luke: "Oh no, going down. Tell my kids I love them." Mark approaches Vivian. Mark: "Are you going to be working here now too?" Vivian: "Can't say that I will." Mark: "You got really pretty eyes." Luke suddenly rises back up. Luke: "I was just faking. You will never take me alive." He chases his brother out the front door, making gun sounds with his toy gun. Lenny: "Sorry about all that." Vivian: "Not at all. I don't get to be around children too much. It's always welcome." Lenny: "So, what are you doing in these parts, if you don't mind me asking? Vivian, I'm about to retire, so I figured I would explore the country and see where I want to spend my last days. Sorry if that sounds a little morbid. Lenny, well, there's plenty of untouched country around here. Sunshine and kind-hearted folk, and an everyone is your neighbor type of atmosphere, which is not always a great thing, but most of the time it equates. She rises, gazes out the window, and sips her tea as the punks work the fields while goofing off with Mark and Luke. Vivian, some interesting workers you got there. He gazes out the window with her. Lenny, yeah, every few years we get some drifters passing through who just need a helping hand for a stretch. I figure if I can help people find their way, this farm almost becomes like a church as well. Vivian, don't you worry about letting random strangers onto your property? I mean, how do you really know who you're dealing with? Lenny, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. Maybe times are different now, though. Vivian, reading the newspaper just makes you want to lock down and never leave your home again. Lenny, sometimes it's best to just turn the news off for a good while. They sit back down as he serves her a piece of the apple pie from the windowsill. She takes a bite, spills some of the filling onto her blouse, and licks it off with her finger. Vivian, and focus on the little things. Lenny, the Lord is my shepherd, there's nothing I lack. Vivian, even when I go through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. They share a long glance and eat together. Lenny, faith is a powerful thing. Vivian, can also lead to dangerous unintended consequences. Lenny, don't quite understand what you mean. Vivian, sorry, just rambling on with my nonsense. She takes another bite from the pie, staring at Lenny. So again, you could sort of sense that Vivian, she was probably different when she was younger. She just wanted to do her job, but now she's questioning maybe her life path. That's why I said she could be a really interesting character. A aging assassin, but also a female assassin. Most mafia movies, you picture men as the assassins or men as the hitmen, as the hit people. But you don't really get a taste of that. Maybe there's that one movie, who is it, Charlize Theron? Atomic Blonde or something, where she plays, or there's an Angelina Jolie one where she plays a like assassin. So there are some movies like that. I just think she would be an interesting character because an aging assassin, all they did their entire life, whether man or woman, was just kill people. And now they're in their 60s and they're rethinking their life path and what they probably regret not doing with their life. Or maybe people just enjoyed killing people for 60 years, I don't know. But yes, there's a lot of possibilities with her character, more than anybody else. At least, in my opinion, it's the most attractive role, I think so. I'm going to stop here and finish the rest later. I'm on page 61. So we're getting into the high action of this movie now, of this story. All these different storylines are becoming entangled for better or worse. Lenny and Vivian finally meet now. The punks don't even know that she's there to kill them. She's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Why is this guy following me? This weirdo in a Corvette, being very blatant about him following me. Why is he tracking me? Why is there a tracking device? she's trying to put the pieces together of why Sonny might have called her after all those years. Why did he all of a sudden want her to take care of this? She's trying to put all these pieces together while also going through some internal emotional stuff about coming to terms with her life and her the rest of her life, how she wants to live her life like that. I'm going to stop here. The action will definitely pick up more in the final part 3 of this. I'll try to finish it in the next. I got about 40 pages left to go. I feel like I could. It might be a little bit longer to do, but the main point of this story so far is this: all these different segments of society coming together in harmony somehow. You got these punk ass anarchist kids from the city. You got these Mexican farm workers, and there's a spiritual side to the shaman life. You got Lenny and his family, who are like the Bible Belt Christian conservative types, but I didn't really write them like that. They're just normal people. Not that. When I mean like the really fundamental evangelicals, like, and I don't have a lot of experience with that. I don't know any people like that. The people who take the Bible literally, like maybe I've known people like that in my life because I did go to Catholic school for 12 years. But even there, people kind of knew religion was kind of a metaphor or a life, a worldview of how to organize your life and organize society. Some people take the fairy tale stuff, like Adam and Eve really existed and really ate an apple that a snake gave them. Some people too do take that literally, like there was really a talking snake that gave them a forbidden fruit that fucked up everyone's life because of original sin. Yeah, you have to take everything, at least, it's like reading a fairy tale. There's a reason you read Little Red Riding Hood to your kids, or what else? Snow White, some of these other historic fairy tales, because they teach life lessons. You could look at the Adam and Eve story like it really was the first two people naked in a garden, and then they fucked everything up by eating an apple. You could take that literally and be like, all right, I guess that's really what happened. It took 7 days to create the world and whatever else. I don't read the Bible. Or you could look at it like a metaphor for how we're all flawed. I'm trying to relate it to my own interpretation. What do I get from the Adam and Eve story? As a kid, I probably thought it was the reality. Like, I guess there was a talking snake. When you're 6, 7 years old, how the fuck do you even decipher stuff at that point? You don't have critical thinking skills. So you're going to think whatever people tell you to think at that point. If the nuns are telling me this is the truth, then I'm going to believe the nuns. It's just how it is when you're young. But what do I interpret a story like Adam and Eve? I don't know. It's just humanity. We're all born with the same flaws and the same potential for evil. We all have that inside of ourselves. And it's good to come to terms with that. Whether you think it's because some serpent gave an apple to Eve, and then Eve tempted Adam, and all the other patriarchy, if you want to call it that, those types of organized religions that always blame the woman, and that kind of witchcraft element to shit. Yeah, there's a lot of different interpretations that you can get from a story like that. But there are some people who take it literally, and I'm not judging. I just can't really relate to that type of experience. I don't know how to live like that. Whether you believe in it or not, like sometimes I think people are just faking it, but they take it literally, or they teach it in a literal fashion because that's just how it was. That's how they were brought up, and that's how other people were brought up. So they just continue that chain, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it should be made illegal. You can believe whatever you want to believe in America, at least in America, without having people tread on you with whatever bullshit they want to put on your life. That's how America was supposed to be. Freedom of religion, freedom from religion, all that good stuff. So, a lot of these themes were coming up in this story. A lot of similar themes were going on in my head around 2020 when the pandemic was happening and all the weird shit that I was going through. It was just a fucked up time that I'll never ever get, it'll never be duplicated again. If another pandemic happened, I don't even think people would pay attention to it at this point. I'll just be like, fuck it. If I die, I die. I'm not going to get all weirded out, get all anxious and paranoid about every little fucking thing. So, yeah, you learn from shit like that. And I guess I'll end it there. Part 3, I'll try to do later today, just like I did yesterday. When we come back to this story, we continue with Vivian becoming a part of the storyline more and more now. So I'll leave it there and finish the last 40 pages later on.